Between this deformed tree and the random dirt blocks, I think it's safe to say this island was on the edge of the 1.17 generation. While I did have some oak saplings from earlier, I wanted to make sure I used at least some local birch wood in the builds. After gathering enough birch saplings to start a farm, I did a little terraforming on the hill where I was planning to build. I knew I wanted to make some kind of lighthouse, but it took me a while to figure out the shape for the rest of the structure. Earlier, I had noticed an underwater ruin on our way to this island, and I thought it might be cool to incorporate at least some of these blocks into the house. I wasn't impressed by the chest's contents. However, there was an amethyst geode not too far from the ruin. The smooth basalt, calcite, and amethyst blocks would be very nice to build with. I decided to use the basalt for the base of the tower, but for the foundation of the rest of the structure I used stone brick, including the cracked and mossy stone brick I had gathered from the ruin. I also finally settled on using the birch for the outside pathways and doors. After gathering more materials from the geode, I decided to add amethyst blocks for the floor. I really liked having an amethyst floor in the Flower Forest home, so when I saw there was a geode near this island, I thought it would be fun to do that again. For the walls, I was trying to combine the calcite with diorite, but then I realized I wanted more depth with the foundation. So, after adjusting the porch, I had to add some stone brick stairs around the base of the structure. I keep forgetting that we don't have cracked stone brick stairs. But of course it started raining, so I started fishing. I guess technically I don't need to, especially since I pretty much have all of the tools and armor I could want. But there's a very persistent part of my brain that's drawn to not knowing what random stuff the fishing rod will give me. This is probably why I don't connect my credit card to games with anything that even vaguely resembles a loot crate. But then it was back to mixing the calcite and diorite. I later thought that since I couldn't turn the cracked stone bricks into stairs, I would add in some polished andesite stairs to the foundation instead. It just didn't look right with only the mossy and normal stone brick stairs for some reason. With the first floor of the main building in place, I started working on the bottom of the tower. The floor seemed like a good place to use the polished granite and cracked stone brick from the ruin, but I had to do some mining beneath the geode to get more building resources before I continued. It got to the point where I wasn't sure how I wanted to proceed with the house, so I worked on adding some of the outside pathways as well as a dock for my boat instead. But after that I still wasn't sure what to do with the house, so I started working on a barn and fenced-in field for Daisy and the 3 white sheep. I'm sure they were tired of sitting in their boats after all. As nice as the dandelions were, the field still felt a bit plain, no pun intended, so I added a pond. But it still felt like it needed a tree. I never learned how to do custom trees, so I just planted a sapling and hoped for the best. For the barn roof, I decided to use cut copper stairs. Copper is still a fairly new item in the game, and I did use copper to roughly track how long I had been at each of the bases on my journey to the end. So it feels right to include it in the final builds for this series. And with the lightning rod, it was safe to outline the roof with oak. All that was left for the barn was to add some storage, finish the upstairs, including the upstairs windows, add some details to the outside, and try again to get a decent tree. Finally, I could get Daisy and the sheep out of their boats and into the field. I also put lily, allium, dandelion, and berry in the barn until I could make a better spot for them in the house. Finally back to working on the house, I decided to add in some cobbled deep slate to make the basalt base look a little less flat. Naturally, the base also needed to become just a little taller. I really like deep slate tiles. I didn't get to use them before making the roof, but at least there was a lot of roof to cover on this build. However, I needed to gather more deep slate, and that's when I found some stone around Y-58. I don't know why it generated here. My best guess is that maybe this was on the border of the old chunks, so the world generation got confused? Should I have filed a bug report? Because I didn't. Whoops. Later, I stumbled upon some gravel. There were lava sounds and light, so I was cautious as I made my way up. It was in this cave that I spotted what appeared to be an iron ore vein. However, I didn't have my shulker boxes with me, so I didn't feel like mining it at the time. I have been thinking about what to do with this world since the journey to the end is over. I don't want to just throw this world away, so I may occasionally still post videos involving this world, but they would be a completely different series. I'm thinking that series will focus more on large projects, like mining an entire iron ore vein. I'll make sure to include a link in the description when I do start making those kinds of videos. Anyway, even with mixing in the deep slate, the tower foundation still seemed a bit flat, so I tried adding some cobbled deep slate walls. I needed to make the basalt and deep slate taller again, but I'm pretty satisfied with the result. I then added a barrel wall on the second floor to provide some storage. It also helps break up the space. I took a quick trip to the village, not only to borrow some crops and say hi to our neighbors, but also to see how the build looked from a distance. Upon returning, I started a farm, primarily for bone meal. I really wanted to color code my shulker boxes eventually. Anyway, it was about time that I figured out a real way to get up and down the house, and I figured a glowberry vine would do the trick. It would also double as lighting, which was convenient. With that in place, I started working on the actual tower for the lighthouse. Again, I wanted to use copper. In other circumstances, I probably wouldn't have used diorite as the other block, but I had a lot of extra diorite from when I was gathering blocks for the house. Besides, every time I see people hating on diorite, part of me just wants to build with it more. And at this distance, the noise from the darker parts of the texture doesn't bother me. So, construction continued on. That seemed about the correct height once I would add the top of the lighthouse. For the top, I would again use deep slate tiles. But since I was indecisive when it came to the shape, I worked on finishing the shorter section of the build. With the roof finally done, I continued working on the interior. Having an attic above the bedroom seemed like a good idea, but then I remembered that I still needed to finish the lighthouse. In retrospect, the top may have been a bit too bulky for the tower, but I definitely didn't have the patience to redo it. I couldn't remember what the range was for the lightning rod on the barn, so I added one to the top of the lighthouse just to be safe. I wasn't 100% sold on the torches I had in the lighthouse, but I was pretty pleased with the way it looked at night. As for the bottom of the tower, I started installing 3 smelting arrays, one each for a smoker, furnace, and blast furnace, though it did start to feel a little cramped. I also extended the glowberry vine down to the floor, so that I could finally get rid of the temporary amethyst staircase. Next, I decided to furnish the downstairs. While the barn and field would work for Daisy and the sheep, I wanted something different for the cats and dogs. Fortunately, a wandering trader dropped by selling glowstone again, so that took care of the lighting situation. The pet beds were in place, and so was mine, but everything still felt a bit empty, so I added some carpets all over the house. I figured I should make a map of this island to hang somewhere. Disappointed, but not surprised that the island didn't fit within the map. I just needed to find some place to hang 4 maps eventually. So I decided to make a wall in the downstairs for that purpose. Now I could have just used oak planks, but where would be the fun in that? Stairs add a nice texture. This meant I had to replace some of the oak slabs in the ceiling with oak stairs or full blocks, but now I had a flat surface for the maps. Not bad. But it still felt empty, so I added another couch. I also moved the composter array into the house. Normally, I would put it inside of a farm building, but I didn't feel like making a large crop farm this time. And thus began the great shulker box organizing of 2022. Remember when I said I needed dyes to color code my shulker boxes? Yeah, that helped me a little, but not as much as I was hoping, because I'm not sure I even remember the logic I used to figure out which color represented which items. But hey, it's a start, even if it's at the end of this series. I really enjoyed making this series, even if traveling sometimes felt a little monotonous. And if you've watched any of this series, thank you so much for watching. Your support really means a lot. And if you haven't seen the entire series, I will include the playlist on the end screen and in the description. As I said earlier, while this series is over, I don't want to just throw this world away. So I may still post videos involving this world, but they'll be considered a different series. When I eventually have a video or playlist for that series ready, I'll put that on the end screen too. Until next time, take care.